Please consider joining us on our website. You'll have access to Interesting Minds, crime series, and a tutorial so you can see how I do it. I can't guarantee you'll figure it out, but I will teach you how I see people.
I want to welcome former FBI Director James Comey. So,
humility. Just so you know, because I know many people don't get it, this guy's got a belief system. He could be the preacher, the head of his church. His belief system runs that deep, which is why he's so comfortable coming out and talking to people. Because in his belief system, he's right. There's no wrongdoing. He was the head of the FBI, protecting this nation from those that would destroy it. And in his belief system, government control is what saves it.
The New York Times reported that the FBI sent an investigator posing as an assistant to meet with a Trump aide, George Papadopoulos, in 2016. Does that qualify as spying?
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on a particular investigative step because that's for the Bureau to do, and I'm not in the government any longer. But the FBI doesn't spy to begin with. The FBI investigates. And you got to remember where we were in the end of July of 2016. We knew the Russians were engaged in a massive effort to attack our democracy. And then we learned from an allied ambassador that one of President-elect Trump's, or candidate Trump's advisors had been talking to a Russian representative long before that about dirt they had on Hillary Clinton that the Russians wanted to make available.
This goes to that spying word, which I find absolutely ridiculous. There's actually an argument. In his belief system, this kind of action is justified and probably categorized in his mind as some form of surveillance. We don't call it spying, it's surveillance. We just didn't tell anybody we were watching because it's for the good of everyone.
We all should have been fired if when we learned that we didn't investigate to figure out, is there a connection between any Americans and this Russian effort? And the FBI, in my view, took very reasonable steps, careful steps to try and understand, is that true? And I can't...
Now, his body sings with him as he goes through this whole thing. But you notice what he's actually saying is he's explaining the justification. He's in his belief system, and he's telling you the justification of their actions.
I believe Republicans would have wanted it any other way, and we acted in a responsible, limited, and constrained way. I'm proud of the way we conducted ourselves.
You said it's not spying. Why do you think Attorney General Barr used the word spying, which is obviously a word that the president has used as well?
I can't explain it. I mean, the only explanation I can think of is he used it because the president uses it, which is really disappointing. He knows better than that and knows that the FBI conducts electronic surveillance by going to federal judges and getting warrants based on probable cause.
But sending an investigator undercover to meet with somebody who is connected to the campaign, they claimed he was later on just a coffee boy. That is an extreme step, no?
No, it's a reasonable... That was the guy, Papadopoulos, who was the subject of the information we got from the Australians, that he had talked to the Russians.
Did you sign off on the investigator going?
I don't remember talking about that particular step with my team. I knew they were trying to see if they could check it out. That's a totally normal step. See if you can get somebody close to the person and see if they'll confirm what we heard from the Australians.
How involved were you overall overseeing the investigation? Because again, I mean, this is an investigation where at this point on the Papadopoulos, Donald Trump had already been named the candidate for the Republican Party.
Yeah, I was involved the way the director should be involved, briefed on it on a regular basis, but the director never runs an investigation. But they kept me closely informed because I had told them, this is important. I want it kept very close hold, but do what you need to do under our authorities to figure out whether...
So you're saying you're not sure if you knew they were sending somebody undercover to talk to Papadopoulos?
Well, I don't want to confirm. I want to leave it to the FBI to confirm what investigative steps they took. That news article wasn't, I don't think, based on an official release. So I don't want to comment on particular steps. But in general, they would tell me we're following through to try and understand whether there's...
That's called a yes. I knew. He's being evasive. He's looking around, looking for an out. That's a yes. He knew. Even someone in a belief system knows they've overstepped.
Evidence to establish this.
The Inspector General, the Attorney General, they're obviously now looking into the origins of the investigation, into the president and his campaign. Are you confident you did everything by the book and that the FBI, the people around you did everything by the book.
Yes.
No
That
doubt.
doesn't, no doubt in my mind, but that doesn't mean I'm against.
Well, the thing on that one, doing everything by the book, he reads out that question and he doesn't move. He's not confident. There's something there, which is we just found out in the previous question. So we don't see any movement, and that is a red flag. Someone asks you a question, and maybe the question isn't done yet, and you already start to answer part one of question. He doesn't do that. He sits there and then does an exaggerated up and down movement with the head. Yes. It's like, he has no confidence in that. So there's something there.
Review of it, that's totally fine.
So you think the Inspector General will find nothing inappropriate?
I don't think so, at least not that I know of. But if they do, they do, and they should be transparent about it.
CNN has spoken to people within the FBI who say that they have concerns that the Inspector General could find something and that they're bracing for what may be uncovered.
He went down on that, looked away. A little bit of shame that has come through.
Are we in a constitutional crisis, as Jerry Nadler and House Speaker Pelosi say we are?
I actually don't think so. I think we're in a time where our constitutional design, the genius of our founders, is going to be tested, and I think it's up for it, right? The Congress has made demands, the newly awakened Congress, thank goodness they're living out the design of the founders, trying to conduct oversight. The executive is resisting, and that battle is going to be fought out in the courts. All three branches of our government are going to be involved. A crisis would be if the United States courts say, no, Mr. President, you must comply with this demand, and he says no then. We're not there. Our system is being stress tested, but it's up for it.
We've got a question.
Listen, they're watching him. He petted himself after that, petting himself a lot. Then he switches his fingers and does the other side. Slow petting, comforting himself over a constitutional crisis question. His body sang with him when he's talking about, I don't think we're in a constitutional crisis. We're being stress tested. We don't see the whole body and see if he's petting himself through the key things, so we can't actually pinpoint where it's there. But he's being truthful when he says we don't think so as being stressed test. You can look at it from the petting perspective of that he's stressed on which way that will go. Who will win this battle? Will it be Nadler and Schiff, or is it going to be Trump?
Has Mueller made a mistake by not speaking out, by remaining silent and allowing essentially Attorney General Barr to define the report or the narrative?
I don't know whether I would say it's a mistake by Bob Mueller, because I don't know whether he anticipated the way in which the Attorney General would act and the things he would say. In hindsight, maybe Bob Mueller would have approached it differently. But look, the president says...
I want you to notice something, especially with people like this individual. He's thinking this out. He's not being deceptive, but listen as he speaks about Bob Mueller.
This report is a complete exoneration of him, so why on earth wouldn't the special counsel be permitted to testify? He will give us important insight into exactly what his thinking was, because I could be wrong about it, but exactly what he was collecting the evidence for and his assessment of it.
What do you think?
It's a praise. It's an encouragement for him to speak. And then as he goes on...
Of the way Attorney General Barr has behaved? Because you had talked earlier, I think right when, maybe before the summary came out or right after the summary came out, that you needed to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I think, and I said that because I think his career had earned that. And so I tried to withhold judgment. He did a very good thing in offering transparency. Most of the report is unredacted, so we could see it. And then I think he acted in a way that's less than honorable in the way he described it in writing and described it during a press conference, and continues to talk as if he's the president's lawyer. That is not the Attorney General's job. It's a political appointment by the president, but you lead an institution that belongs to the American people and not the president.
You think he's behaving less than honorably?
I do. Yeah, and look, I'm sorry to... He's an accomplished and very smart person, and who had nothing to lose in taking this job but his reputation. But it doesn't make me happy to say this, but I think he has lost most of his reputation with the way he's conducted himself.
So anyways, he goes into the Barr thing and he talks about he's become dishonorable. He's literally telling you who in his congregation is a follower of the belief system. It's not Barr. He's become dishonorable. It is Mueller. Mueller needs to come out and tell the congregation exactly what he's thinking. And if you start looking at it that way, especially when you listen to Comey speak, you'll start seeing who are the allies still and who are not the allies and who needs to explain themselves that they're all confused about. Apparently, Mueller needs to explain himself. In his belief system, he's done something that has bucked the system. Barr needs to be thrown out. His body sings with him. He's thinking about his answer because you don't want to sit there and push Mueller, who you still believe is in your congregation, out by saying something not nice, but you want them to speak and explain themselves. And you want to let everyone know that the individual that is no longer in the congregation, Barr, understands that he's acting dishonorably. But he says it in such a way that you could come back if you apologize. It makes me think of an occult.
If you like it, please share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.